Hey, you all, Carpetbagger here, coming to you live from the north, and it is another wonderful day here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And to start the day out, I was going to grab some lunch here at John's Roast Pork. Now, the first night I came in, I went over to Pat's and Gino's, flipped a coin, ended up eating Pat's cheesesteaks, and when I told Philly Captain about that, he was very, very unhappy with me. He says that those are the tourist spots, and I'm like, well, I'm a tourist. And then he continued to tell all his Philadelphia friends where I ate, and they all gave me dirty looks. So I figured I'd take some of his advice and eat here at John's Roast Pork, which the Philly Captain says is the best cheesesteak in Philadelphia. Also, my good dear friend who has passed, Adam the Woo, also believed that John's Roast Pork is the best Philly cheesesteak in Philadelphia. He went like a week eating different cheesesteaks, and it determined that he agreed with the Philly Captain. So those are two very reliable sources. I have eaten here before, and I do remember enjoying it, but I have Pat's cheesesteak firmly in my mind. Let's see if John's Roast Pork is better than Pat's cheesesteaks. Also, what's interesting, yeah, their mascot's like a pig. It's John's Roast Pork. It's not John's Phillies. I guess they're so irony there that the thing that they advertise is not necessarily the thing that they do best. So let's get the best cheesesteak in Philadelphia. Please follow me. Yeah, not only does the name not include cheesesteaks, but you have the pig here as their mascot. He's actually eating a roast pork sandwich. It's got like spinach on it and cheese. And they have a chicken cheesesteak. I don't even know if they even have a Philly cheesesteak on their sign, the thing that they apparently do best in the world. Oh, looks like they already have quite a line lined up in here. Please enter at other door. Yeah, you can see they're actually established in 1930.
You guys have like a sausage or what?
It's too cold to eat outside, obviously, but they have a little enclosed area in here. And there is my cheesesteak. Now, some of the big differences between this and Pat's and Gino's is the roll here. And this is like the harder roll. It's with the sesame seeds in it. This is similar to the roll I had the other day with with Ricky's Hoagies. And they do not use Cheese Whiz. Gino's and Pat's use the Cheese Whiz. You can get other cheese there, but they don't have Cheese Whiz as an option. So this has melted American on it. It's cold outside, but the steak is hot in here.
It's going to be enough for a million challenge.
That is very good. Very good. I don't know. At first, I'd always order the Cheese Whiz, because I thought that was kind of the traditional way to eat it. I'm not sure if that's true or not. But I think I actually like the melted American better than the Cheese Whiz. And that was me and Philly Captain were arguing about. I like the softer bun. He's a big fan of the thicker, harder bun. So I think that would be my only thing I would change. Maybe a little softer, gentler bun. But that is good. You cannot go wrong with that. And I think we're going to go full in on the M&uuml roll. Come over here to the Mummers Museum. So the Mummers are groups of people, and apparently this is not just a Philadelphia thing. I've heard of Mummers, learned about Mummers, the Henry Ford Museum. I've heard about Mummers in Canada, but Philadelphia has this massive Mummers Day parade on the first of every year. It's kind of a New Year's celebration where mummers flood the streets. They dress in strange and unusual costumes. A Mardi Gras-like celebration, but in the cold January Philadelphia weather. But I do need to learn. I do need to learn more about mummers. So I think we should head inside and learn all we can. Very interesting building here. I love the marquee there. Oh, it says wipe your feet. And look at this. And I see this one here in the lobby. This talks about all the firsts that happened in the U.S. Of course, a lot of firsts happen in Philadelphia. And this is the first folk parade, 1901. See some of the outfits here. Oh, that has the Constitution on it. Of course, the Constitution written here in Philadelphia. Oh, and here is the answer to our question. What is a mummer? Any person involved in fantasy of song, dance, and costume splendor in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, where Mardi Gras meets Broadway on January 1st. Every mummer, old and young, rehearse endless hours, drill many long days, and dedicate lots of time, money, and hours to enrich the tradition of mummery. It's the oldest folk parade in America. It's highlighted right here in the Mummers Museum. All right. Please feel free to ask questions, sing along, but most of all, strutting around and enjoy yourself. We'll head upstairs first. Oh, this is a first prize winning costume. See the Revolutionary War era outfit with that red, white, and blue. You see here's a countdown until New Year. 329 days, 12 hours, and 2 minutes. That's a long time. Of course, I'm always looking for interesting New Year's celebrations. I have an idea in my head. I want to do something different for New Year's every year. I think this would be amazing. Yeah, New Year's Day celebration, actually, not even New Year's Eve. But man, I think it would be really fun to come out here. And look at this room here. Oh my gosh, the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Stay Puft Marshmallow Man outfit. Yeah, all these flashy outfits. I really love the Raven here. Quoth the Raven, party down. This is another prize winner from the 2018 parade. That is definitely a swanky outfit. Oh, I do love the skull belt buckle there. This one here with the elephant mask kind of looks like maybe a movie about a slasher movie about the Mummers Parade. Yeah, I appreciate the flash and the sequins, but I really appreciate the more out there costumes like this melty ice cream monster. What? Look at this umbrella or parasol with the holes cut in it, completely destroying any reason it even has for existing. To me, right here, if I had to define the madness of humanity, I would point towards this umbrella with holes cut in it. So this is a miniature replica of the cape of the captain of the Mummers Parade. It says the real Mummers Parade capes would take up a full city block, and it said you need people to carry it. It said it took up to 100 to 200 costume pages to carry the cape. So here we, I guess, have show the people carrying the cape there, the elaborate cape through the city. Oh, look at the ice stalks. It's got the lion there. The name of this costume is Uncharted Africa, Call of the Wild. Oh, and then we got, is that Napoleon? This is Malt Shop Memories with the stylish latex wig. Oh, look at this over here in the center. This insane costume. The most impractical costume ever, just trying to march down the street wearing this. Look at that. He's even wearing at least 3 hats. Talk about putting a hat on a hat. So here, origins of mummery. Talks here about the origin of mummery. Says that basically all the different Europeans have their own customs, but they mingled together and then incorporated Black American images, and that became the Mummers Parade. And it's interesting, because this is talking about the history of mummery in Philadelphia, obviously, but I've seen instances of them using the word in other places, such as Canada. So I'm wondering if there is a connection, or maybe there is no connection. And maybe this is a connection here, the word mummers. So the word mummers means, in German, Mumm means disguise, Mummerkleid is fancy dress, and Mummenspiel is masquerade. So maybe, yeah, if the term means disguise and fancy dress, then that all makes sense. Okay, so it does talk about some of the European origins of mummery. It says in 1680s they had Christmas mumming plays in England. So yeah, that makes sense why it would be there. Apparently there are some mummers in Canada and some in Europe, but the only American celebration is here in Philadelphia. There's a mutoscope. We learned about these in the Museum of the Moving Image. I like this, like Custer. Custer's Last Stand, taking an arrow in the head. It says the people are judged in 3 categories: string bands, the fancies, which I guess is the elaborate costumes, and the comics. I guess these are the ones with humorous costumes. So you see if you're going to be the funniest, the fanciest, or the pluckiest. And these are some of the oldest pieces they have here in the museum. This is from 1877. Here's one of the page boys that would carry the cape. Shows how the costumes are made here. These are the back piece, the butterfly wings. You saw that one enormous back piece that seems like it would not fit through any door on the face of the earth. Here it talks about the string band. So that is a bass fiddle. Huh. I don't know if I've heard of a bass fiddle before. Yes, these are the instruments they use: the banjo, the guitar, the mandolin. Believe it or not, I once tried to learn to play the mandolin, but ended up sending my mandolin to Rwanda. Just a violin, some saxophones to round out the band. This is the costume of a Frank Sturmel, who was also known as Mr. Clown. So here's how you learn to strut. Shows the dancing clown there, showing us how to do the mummers. The mummers strut. I guess that's an umbrella you would use in the strut. Oh my goodness, I love it. Love the clown. Here you go. See all the different dance steps here. There we go. So we can feel free to try on a costume, take a picture, and strut like a mummer. So I have the different mummers gear that you can try on. And there we go. I'm all mummered up. I feel like this hat would give me neck problems if I wore it all day and strutted around in it. But let's see. I can remember how to do the mummer strut. Let's hit the music. Where's the clown? Okay, he's like, This shows you the different parade routes. See, 1968 to present. Marching up Broad Street by City Hall. Oh, and then another parade down that way. Is there 2 parades? So different parades here. In 1918, it was 5 degrees. Recently experienced temperatures colder than that in Minnesota. In 1973, it was 62, so a warm, balmy day. Oh, there's a Child in a cauldron. Oh, I guess that is these are Mummer's witches. The child in a cauldron. So these are from the 2026 parade. So these are some of the recent costumes. Yeah, I think I definitely want to come one of these years to the Mummer's parade. I think that would be awesome. Oh, look at this. Look at this. This one's on Castlevania. It's a Dracula. Here is the Cowardly Lion. Oh, I just noticed. I think that Trump in there as the Cowardly Lion wearing the crown. Oh, looks like they have a little venue here in the building. You know, it's very interesting. You know, I've been to Mardi Gras in New Orleans. Visited the Winter Carnival in Minnesota and realized there is a certain way that human beings like to celebrate. And apparently that is wearing flashy clothes and parading in the streets. The Mummer is very similar. You know, there may be some historical connection to everything here, but it's just interesting how in so many different parts of the country and so many different parts of the world, people have a very similar way of celebrating. You have Carnival in Brazil. You have the Junkanoo parade in the Bahamas. And yeah, I'm sure I can find other examples of very similar, you know, the flashy outfits, the reveling, the celebration, and it just seems to be a common thread through humanity. And man, yes, I definitely want to come see the Mummer's Day parade. I need to figure out a way to do that. I've been trying to do different things. I kind of started out doing different things this year. Last couple of years we did Gatlinburg for New Year's, which I really enjoy, but I wanted to expand my boundaries, and I went to the Possum Drop in Tallapoosa, Georgia this year. But looking for other celebrations, I got quite a few lined up of things I want to do, and this is definitely near the top of the list, the Mummer's Day Parade. Traveled down here to the downtown area of Philadelphia, and it was really hard to find a parking spot. You see, most of the street parking is covered in snow. You can see this car up here is actually buried in snow. I think it snowed like 10 days ago. So this car has been stuck there for like 10 days. It looks like they've got a parking ticket, although I don't know if they would have had a very easy time. Maybe someone just decided it was easier to just abandon their car than to shovel. But yeah, the parking lots are all closed off. They are reserved for the monthly clients. But yeah, you see here, where you pay for parking. But there's nowhere to park. You can't just park in this giant pile of ice and snow. I did find one spot that was cleared off enough where I was able to park. But I did get a little nervous there. I thought I might have to just turn around and leave. Parking was pretty sparse. Well, today we visited the Mummer Museum. I figure if we were visiting the Mummer Museum, we might as well visit the Mütter Museum here at the College of Physicians. Now, the Mütter Museum was originally a collection of specimens reserved to teach physicians, doctors, people in the medical field. It did open up in the 1970s. They did decide to open it up to the public, and it is a collection. It is a collection of some of the human anatomy, human abnormalities, some really strange and weird stuff in there, and some, quite frankly, stuff that's maybe a little hard to stomach. There's some parts that get pretty intense because they don't hold back. It's meant for doctors' eyes. Doctors learn. Doctors need to see every gnarly part of the human body in all sorts of gnarly conditions. So I will hopefully will not lose my John's roast pork Philly while I'm inside there. But without further ado, let's open up these big grand doors. Now, you're not allowed to take pictures or film in the main gallery because it is, the reason they give is that it is primarily human remains, but there are some non-human remain artifacts in here. We have a model of the brain where you can take apart the different sections of the brain. These can be used as learning tools, so someone can learn about the brain. And it's good to have a brain that you can really look at, that you can really cut up, but at the same time, there's only so many brains to go around, so sometimes you have to use a model. This is a 1972 era microscope, and then this is a 1750 era microscope. There's an anatomy book from 1798, and then this one is from 1977, where C-3PO and R2-D2 tell you to immunize your children. This is a wax model of a human being with a horn-like tumor. And right there you can see that is an actual horn-shaped tumor that would grow out of someone's forehead. So yeah, a lot of medical anomalies in the Mütter Museum. And here is the history of the Mütter Museum. It started in the mid-1800s and was, I guess, private for over 100 years, didn't open to the public until the 1970s. This is the founder, Thomas Dent Mütter, who began putting together this private collection. And it does talk here about the ethics of displaying human remains, explaining at the time, mid-1800s, it was considered the best way to learn and show people. But it does say that there are some issues with displaying human bodies and how the person can't really consent to what is being done. So I guess it invites you to contemplate those ideas. And okay, getting ready to head into the main gallery. I'm not allowed to film in there, so I will let you know the things I've seen, the horrors that I've seen on the other side. And I've stepped out here to get some fresh air in the garden of the Mütter Museum. It's a little too snowy to hang out on those benches, but the fresh air is nice. I don't feel like you can adequately prepare yourself for the Mütter Museum. I've been to similar museums. There's a Museum of Health and Medicine in Washington, D.C., which has some similarities, but the Mütter Museum is one of a kind. It is, because it's so old, like it is still set up like a Victorian museum with the wood and glass cases, very much reminiscent of a museum that you would see in the mid-1800s. And it is very, very graphic. Like, have a strong, like, seriously, like, have a strong, if you don't have a strong stomach, if you don't want to see like chunks of human bodies, maybe don't go, because it is an onslaught to the senses. Like I've said, I feel like I have a pretty strong stomach for this stuff, going to different museums, going to medical museums. But the first time I went here, and just now again, it's a wallop. It's the Mütter Museum. So basically, you walk in. We just run you through kind of some of the highlights, maybe a few of the lowlights as well. You walk in, and the first thing you see is the soap lady. And she looks horrifying. She is laying there. She is a dead body, and she's laying there all lumpy. She's brown, and she's got the most horrifying death scream. Her mouth is like opened up as wide as it can, like it's giving the most horrific scream ever. And she is not made of soap, actually. She's made of a soapy material. It's like it's something to do with bacteria, certain temperatures, certain chemistry of the soil, that she got transformed into what they call a soap person. It's technically not soap. You couldn't grab a chunk of her and wash yourself with it. That's not really soap, but it is a soapy texture. When you look down and you see those soapy, waxy lumps, she almost has to look real. She looks like she's made out of waxy lumps. She kind of looks like something you'd find in a haunt somewhere. It's a horrific scene with a screaming, bloated corpse. But you see the soap lady. Next thing you see are the slices of Einstein's brain. Has little slices. They don't have the whole brain together, but they have little slices. Apparently the brain was illegally taken, or not legally, but taken without permission when they did the autopsy of Albert Einstein, and the person who stole it kept it, and it was analyzed by scientists around the world to determine that yes, there was different brains. Albert Einstein, it was different from other brains. Albert Einstein's brain was unique. Certain parts of it were larger, certain parts were missing. It showed he was 76 years old, but his brain showed no deterioration. So he had a special brain. That was part of his gift, was that he was physically different. And here they have them sliced into little like test tubes, so you could see like a side looking like a sliced mushroom. Next up, one of the biggest skull collections you'll ever see. Now, what's really interesting, these skulls, I forget the man's name, but it was someone separate from Mütter who collected all these skulls, and he collected them from all over the world. So you actually see, like, amongst most of these are like your standard like bone-looking white skulls, but there's one like mummy skull, like just stuck in there. It says where they're from. He wrote like, you know, really like short little excerpts on their head that you wrote on the skull, like who they were, how they died. A lot of them were people that were executed, so it'll say like murderer, and then like give any other information. It was like murderer, killed by execution. So apparently the law back then was if you were executed, then you did not have a right to your body. Your family did not have a right to your body, so they would take your body for science without your consent. And they talked about it added some things that talked kind of about it, about how this was questionable, and how some religions don't believe in being dissected, but they really they craved bodies. The doctors at the time needed more bodies to do studies and to create educational models. But so it's it's a thing. It's a different time, but was it the right thing to do? Was it the wrong thing to do? And you should look at the skulls. It's very sad because like a lot of the skulls, the means of death was they ended their own lives, because most of them were very poor people, people that necessarily couldn't afford to have proper funerals, so they were collecting their skulls. One skull had a single word written on it. It just said idiot. Now, there's a lot of bad fates in this world. I remember to think about back out in Utah. There's a grave that says died eating paste. I think that's one of the saddest graves in the world, but I think this beats that out. To have your skull put in a museum with the word idiot written on it, and that being your legacy. Now, I'd definitely say some highlights of the Mütter Museum. You have the liver of Chang and Eng Bunker, the Siamese twins that lived in Mount Airy, North Carolina. The twins that were conjoined and actually created the term Siamese twins. Their autopsy was actually done here at the museum, and they actually took a death cast. They took their body and they made a cast. So you see a cast of their dead bodies with the band of skin connecting them. Also, when they did the autopsy, they found that their livers were actually connected. So you see their actual livers on display, and there's like a little band connecting their livers. They also have a chair that belonged to them. But when you can see someone's liver, I don't know if you can get much more of a personal item than that. So it almost felt like the chair was unneeded. We've seen their liver. Now go see their chair. There was this cabinet full of over 2,000 items that have been swallowed by human beings. A doctor had collected them, and they're all neatly organized. You actually pull out the shelves, and they're all neatly organized. They have them separate, like buttons, nails, screws, needles, all things that you wouldn't want to swallow. I think there was even like little like light bulbs and things like that, like things you don't want in your body. So yeah, all things extracted from human bodies. The The other thing is the giant colon. I know a lot of people know about the giant colon here. They said when it was removed, when the person died with the giant colon, they showed pictures where he was incredibly distended, and his colon contained 40 pounds of human feces in them. So they emptied it out, they filled it full of straw, and it is still in there, and it is still disgusting. It's horrifying. It's really horrifying. It's like the size of a large dog. It's definitely hope my colon is much smaller than that. But so a lot of the museum, I know there's a lot just preserved human body parts, preserved private parts, preserves bones. There's a collection of bones that have like bullets in them or they've been shot, so you can see how like a bone gets shattered when it's hit with a bullet. They have the skeleton of a giant next to the skeleton of a dwarf, and some of the most disturbing stuff is actually some of the wax figures. They're not actually human remains. They're like wax models like we saw in the lobby. There was one where someone had their nose rot off with syphilis, which I found particularly horrifying. There's a lot of tumors. There's giant tumors bigger than someone's head. It's all the horror kind of melds together. It's really just it's very well presented. It's very cool seeing a classic Victorian museum, but it plays out like it's good to know this was collected by scientists and doctors, because it looks like an absolute cabinet of horrors. There's okay. I was actually asked to step inside because they said it is too snowy outside. It's a safety issue, me being out there on the porch. So where was I? What was I talking about? So there's like a lot of infants, young people, babies in jars. I don't like that part as much. Just being a father myself, sometimes it's hard to see anatomical collections of children. But I understand, it's for science, for studying, for able to help children in the future. But a lot of deformities, a lot of times I go into like a sideshow and there's a lot of animal deformities, and I look at things like that. This is kind of like that, but instead of being like goats and calves, it's like humans, like actual babies. So yeah, not the biggest fan of that part. But yeah, just anything you can imagine that to show, to teach, to learn, and every sort of bone anomaly, every sort of flesh organ anomaly, you just see it in absolute gory detail. Good for teaching, but also just for someone who's not a doctor, it's a lot to take in. There's so many stuff like that. Again, it does kind of blend together. There's so much in the collection. It's a very small museum actually, but it's just very, very tightly packed, intense collection. There's so many bones. There's the skeletons where the bones have ossified together. So a lot of skeletons with like curved spinal cords. Oh, there was an exhibit about women's corsets where it showed a normal woman's skeleton and then one that had been wearing a corset her whole life, and it actually completely changed the shape of her rib cage. So you really do learn a lot. I feel like you learn a ton in there. You just got to have a strong stomach about it. When I stepped in off the porch, I stepped into this exhibit on COVID-19. It's the old Dr. Fauci there. Man, what a time. I am so glad it's over. It was rough. It was rough on everybody, I think. People freaked out. They didn't know what to do, didn't know what to think. You can see Gritty there. Gritty was trying to get people to get their vaccination. And I did get my vaccination, and I never ever got COVID. If I got COVID, then it was an asymptomatic case, but I was never sick. I was never sick, and I never found that, never passed a COVID test. I was around Jen several times when she had COVID and just never got it tested negative. So I'm basically the the little girl from Last of Us. There, Dolly. Dolly wants you to get your vaccine as well. Shows how the doctors, says the miracle workers, and man, I have so much respect for the medical community. My stepfather, who's passed, was a doctor during this time. My mom was a hospital administrator, so she was basically in charge of COVID protocol. So she had a lot of hard decisions to make, and they both worked so hard and did so much to try to help people during that time. Here's a vaccine cooler. I remember getting my vaccine. I wanted it so bad, but other people had priority. Older people, sick people, they had priority to get it. I found out I could go get it in Tennessee. That I fit the definition of who could get it in Tennessee before I fit the definition in North Carolina. So I traveled over to Tennessee and got my vaccine. I was so happy because I felt safer, going out, traveling, making videos when I had that vaccine in my arm. And please, if anyone is still angry about this, just relax. I mean, go be angry about it, just not here in my comment section. I think people were trying to do the best they could. I think it's possible mistakes were made or things were done incorrectly, and I think it is important, to question things, to not just take someone's word for everything. I think it's important to listen to both sides and to make your own personal decision, and that's what I did. I made my own personal decision to get the vaccine, and I did. I hated wearing the mask. I did it because that's what was asked of me, but I'm so happy I don't have to wear a mask anymore. I just don't like the way it feels on my face. But I think that was one of the main reasons I wanted to get the vaccine, so I could stop wearing a mask. Now let's exit through the gift shop. And look at this tree here with the little yarn dolls. That's actually Dr. Mütter himself. And then you also have Einstein, who says, "Give me back my brain." Oh, Pinhead is also here for some reason. Apparently Pinhead is a fan of the Mütter Museum. So yeah, it's basically Dr. Mütter, Einstein, and Pinhead. And some Mütter merch. There's a glass with Dr. Mütter. It actually says that it's ether. Little Mütter shot glass. There's candles, like a heart, or a tooth, or a spine. They actually used to have bars of soap shaped like the soap lady, but I don't see those anymore. Oh, that's a fun t-shirt. The wall of skulls there, with the skeleton visiting some of his skull friends. They have Mütter perfume. I don't really know what scent. Does it smell like formaldehyde? Some plague doctors. They're here to learn about the plague. Some plushy skulls. Oh, look at the little skeleton there, and that's a cool shirt. Actually, you got some of the exhibits on it. That's Cephaloropogus. So that was there. It was a Siamese child skeleton where the heads were. It had one head, one skull. And you see they have Chang and Ang up there on the shirt. Oh, they had a stone child. I almost forgot about the stone child. That's where, a child, you're pregnant with a child, but it gets stuck in your body and turns to stone, and it stays there for the rest of your life. Oh, there's the mega colon there on the bottom. Look at all these plush viruses. Well, there's the vaccine, the COVID vaccine. There's the actual COVID virus. It was a black lab mouse. A brain. I think that's I don't know what that is. Oh no, it's a boy. Oh, look at all these anatomical plushes. Oh, there's a white lab mouse. Oh, why is this uterus? Why is this uterus crying? It's like a tear of determination. The ovaries. They do have some merch for some of the items. These are the swallowed objects coasters. See, there's different jacks on their game pieces. There's a Monopoly piece there that was swallowed. There's the megacolon right there. See how gnarly it looks? It says there's more galleries upstairs. Okay, so this is the visible vault. They have more items that aren't currently on display in the main museum. It says this is a way to store things in a way that people can still see them. And I did ask, and they said it was okay for photos and video in here. You know, I see kind of a grand fireplace. An old anatomical textbook there. Man, they had some flair, showing like the skeletons looking at skulls. Yeah, it looks like these are models, like learning models, or they could be real. I'm not entirely sure. You can see different pieces of the human body on display. Here's an eyeglass collection. Now this part of the museum is a lot less graphic. The nice stuff, like glasses. See there's like a monocle. Some really cool stuff. Look at these, like sunglasses. Those are super cool. Not sure what those would be used for. Maybe just looking cool. Oh yeah, these are all different, like sunglasses. Probably used for eye protection. And the goggles. These are speculums used to open up certain body crevices so the doctors can have a better look, or maybe even use them to insert an additional item into your crevice. I want to not think about what that does. Oh, see, these are nice little teapots here. Oh, feeders. So these are like baby, like old-timey baby bottles. Yeah, like this one here. It's like a glass face of a screaming child. I remember hearing in another museum that the reason they stopped using these type of bottles is because they actually were bad to grow diseases, you know, baby killing diseases. Different stethoscopes. Which reminds me of my mom. Mom always wore a stethoscope. She always had a stethoscope hanging on the back of her bedroom door. Me and my siblings would, of course, play with the stethoscope. We'd put it in other one's ears and yell in it, or pull on it and jerk it really fast out of their ears. You can see the other types of stethoscopes. My mom never used this kind. And a hearing aid collection. It's the cartoons where they used to put the big horn in their ear so they could hear it better. Almost looks like a saxophone for your ear. And there's the hearing aids that actually go inside your ear. You have a nice little carrying case here for your ear horn. Yeah, what's this little device here? I guess the battery, it is like connected by like a wire to the eardrum. And these are plaster models of deformities. Like you see like the crooked arm there. The crooked wrist. It's like a club foot, I think. Let's see, what's wrong with this? What's wrong with this leg? I don't know. Seems like a quality leg to me. So our toolkits, which is, I guess, a nice word for them. You can see they'll have that big saw, that big bone saw on top. You know, back in the day, there wasn't as many things, wasn't as many options medically. So a lot of times it just came down to sawing things off. Oh, this has some wax models in it. You can see the different, like, eye deformities. If you look closely, see the cross-eyed, or the eyes bulging out, or reverse cross-eyed. Ooh. Yeah, eyes kind of weird me out a little bit. Yeah, there's a forehead infected by some horrific disease. See the legs there. Don't know what disease this is, but it's all over. What is that? Is that a finger? Shows a healthy finger, then a diseased finger. Yeah, I'll tell you what, in the main museum, a lot of the gory stuff is these wax models. Like I said, like showing people's faces rotting off, people missing their jaws and things like that. And you got some old syringes and lancets, I guess, for cutting you open and getting your blood. Feel like we've been completely neutered. And it has been a wonderful visit to Philadelphia. I got to meet the Philly captain. I also got to meet the Philly fanatic and Gritty, the hockey mascot. But a trip to Philadelphia wouldn't be complete without saying hello to Rocky. And there he is, Rocky Balboa. Rocky says, it's not how hard you hit, it's how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. This statue is dedicated to the great city of Philadelphia and brotherhood of its people. And this is actually the statue used in Rocky III when they unveil his statue here on top of the art museum here. And it stands as a symbol of the city's grittiness, the city's determination, and its willingness to keep standing up over and over again. Truly one of the world's most inspirational fictional characters, Rocky Balboa. Yeah, always a line to get a picture taken with the Rocky statue here. You see, people will come down and offer to take photos for you and then ask for tips. Of course, if you need someone to take a photo, if you have multiple people in your party, that's great. But you're not required to let them take your picture. You can do it. You can do it yourself. You can do selfie style if you wish. But the Rocky statue's been in the news a little bit recently. So this one down here at the bottom, this is the original prop from the movie, from Rocky III, when he gets his own statue in universe, gets his own statue. And originally it was placed up at the top of the art museum here because of in the movie he would run up the steps and exercise. That movie does one of the greatest portrayals of making exercising seem really, really exciting. But they originally had this statue over there, and then it got moved around. The art museum initially did not want it. They did not consider it art. They considered it a movie prop. So shame on you, art museum. But I guess the agreement was it would come back to the art museum, but not at the top, down here at the bottom. However, the city had a Rocky Fest. Rocky's a big deal here in Pennsylvania. They had a Rocky Festival. And so this original statue, the artist created two. Sylvester Stallone bought the second one, and Sylvester Stallone donated his statue temporarily to the city so they could place it back on top of the art museum up here, back where it should be, where Rocky ran up those steps in that iconic scene. And after the festival was over, Sylvester Stallone said, well, here's the deal. He doesn't talk like that, but I don't know how to do impersonation. He said, here's the deal, you see. He said, I want the original statue. Let's leave the statue, the replica that I gave you, up there, and then I'll just take the original back. And the people of Philly said, no, absolutely not. Not only are we not going to let you take your statue back, but we're going to keep our old one. You should leave both for Philly. And Sylvester Stallone said, you know what? I can't argue with the good people of Philadelphia, and I will leave you both statues. What a guy, that's Sylvester Stallone. So it's way up there, but you can see the second Rocky statue up there at the top of the stairs. Of course, these iconic stairs, like I said, the scene where Rocky runs up the stairs, puts his arms in the air, and swirls around in the ecstasy of exercising. And you come out here any time of the year, and you'll see people running up and down these steps, mimicking Rocky's movements, jumping up and down at the top. But as you can see, the stairs, they're covered in snow. It would be very dangerous to run up the stairs at this point. This part over here is salted, so I think this is a little safer. I don't know if I should run, but you can climb up the stairs over here. Oh yeah, okay. Now I'm feeling it. Here we go. Dun 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 dun. I don't know I was about to say I don't know the words of the song. I don't know the melody. Yeah, I can't say it. Da 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 da. And then look at that beautiful view from up here. And Rocky spins around and enjoys the view of Philadelphia from atop the arch steps. And the one down at the bottom is the original, but this is the replica here, the one that Sylvester Stallone owns. And actually, it kind of looks better because I guess it's not been out in the elements. So you can actually see a lot more detail on the face, on the body here. And it has the same quote as the one at the bottom. Yeah, this is bigger than life. Like, look how big his foot is there. Yeah, look at that. See Rocky there with the city in the background. I definitely like the placement at the top of the steps better, instead of hiding Rocky down by the sides. So I think, again, so I guess the plans are all coming together now, but I think the plan is to have the original be at the top. I guess the city is keeping both statues, and apparently there's actually a third at the airport. So the city owns 3 Rocky statues now. Oh yeah, you can see at the bottom here, A. Thomas Schomburg, the artist, the sculptor. This is Rocky Bronze Edition, 2 of 3. So one at the bottom is 1 of 3. This is 2 of 3. And I guess the airport is 3 of 3. And it's a sheet of ice and snow here, but someone did take the time to carve out Rocky's footprints there. Oh, my feet are bigger than Rocky's. Maybe I should be a boxer. And not as many people coming up and doing the jog and spin up the steps. Of course, they're really icy and you could fall, and it's really cold outside. You come out here in the warmer weather, you will literally see someone jog up and do the fists in the air motion about every 15 seconds. So my time here in Philadelphia is starting to wind down. I had a great 3 days in the city. I saw quite a bit for 3 days. Of course, I want to thank the Philly captain for showing me around my first day here, and hopefully I'll be back in the city soon. There is a few things I wanted to check out that I did not get a chance to, so always good to visit Philadelphia. Always good to get yourself some cheesesteaks and take in the history and the sights of Philadelphia. Tomorrow, very, very early tomorrow. I think my train leaves around 8 o'clock a.m. tomorrow, so I do need to get back to the hotel, get packed, and get ready to head out. We're going to be, hopefully, fingers crossed. We've hit a lot of train delays recently, but fingers crossed we will get on our train at the scheduled time. We'll be leaving around 8 o'clock. We'll be taking the Cardinal. The Cardinal actually goes from New York to Chicago, but we're going to pick it up here in Philly and ride it all the way back to Chicago, where I shall retrieve my car, Rosebud, my vehicle, and from there we'll actually be heading back home for a little bit. Jen is having her denture surgery, so definitely need to be there for her. And luckily, she let me know the snow has melted there, or at least is almost finished melting. And also, we have a new cat that I need to meet. So we're riding towards home tomorrow, riding back to Chicago. Then from Chicago, I'll take my car back home. But thank you guys so much. This has been quite an adventure here, New York City, Philadelphia, back to back. Something different about visiting, these big, huge cities. They have a different feel to them. Getting around, seeing things is a little different. And, a lot of times in the past, I've avoided bigger cities just because they're hard to drive into, hard to find parking. It was very hard to find parking today, by the way. But, I definitely like to see more big cities and kind of get in to the guts and the in the insides of big cities and to take in more of what they have to offer. I'm already planning my next trip to Philadelphia and my next trip to New York City, but I'm trying my best to fit it in because we have a lot of plans. 2026, I'm pretty much accounted for every week of this year. There might be a few days here and there I need to fill in, but for the most part, got a lot of big adventures planned this year that I'm excited about, and I hope you guys will come along with me. And I do want to thank you all for watching these videos. Special thank you to those of you who watch every day. I don't upload every single day. I do take days off, but I appreciate those that follow along with every video. It does mean a lot to me. If you're new here, basically what I do, I travel around visiting roadside attractions, amusement parks, museums, haunted houses, and other fun stuff. I've been to all 50 United States and hoping to go even beyond that here in the near future. If you do like these videos, consider contributing to Patreon. $3 or more will get you a postcard once a month from me to you. We also have in the souvenir shop over at Etsy, we have motel key fobs, pressed pennies, enamel pins, and other souvenirs, and all those things will help to keep this train on the track, this boat on the water, and this dirigible in the air. Until next time, my friends, this one's in the bag. Rocky Shop, you'll always be home sweet home to me. Good old Rocky Shop, Pennsylvania.